Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Chef Dodo and today we're going to be making Bavarian cream. The first step in making Bavarian cream is to make the Anglaise sauce. So here I am with a pot of milk. To that I applied half of my sugar and I added the other half of the sugar to my yolk mixture. I'm whisking that up really well to coat the yolks in the sugar. I'm doing that to kind of protect the yolks with the sugar, and you'll see why I'm going to do that later. I have my milk on the stove here at about medium-high heat. I'm going to bring that up to a boil, and then we're going to temper that mixture into our yolk and sugars. Once that comes up to a boil, it's really important to temper this mixture very slowly. You don't want to shock the yolks. We want to avoid scrambling them. You'll see in the background I have a very fine mesh sieve that I'm going to strain this through later. If you do wind up getting any scrambled bits throughout this cooking process, you can strain them out, but we really want to avoid doing that. So here I am tempering the milk. Once it's come up to a boil into my yolk mixture, I'm whisking it very fast as I do this to avoid scrambling the eggs. Just a little bit at a time. Once some of it has been mixed through and it's come up to the proper temperature, I whisk the rest into the milk, and then I continue stirring it on and off the heat throughout this process, trying to control the temperature as much as possible. At this point, I've turned the heat on my stove down to about medium-low heat, and then I'm moving the pot on and off the burner. I don't want the eggs to scramble again, so I'm constantly stirring. And then I'm using a wooden spoon throughout this process, and as you can see, I'm scraping or swiping my finger across the length of it. What I'm doing here is I'm checking to see if it's reached the desired consistency, which we call nappe. That's when the thickness will leave a track on the back of the spoon. So as you can see, as I swipe, it hasn't really quite left a track there. It's still running off of the spoon. You can't really do this with a rubber spatula because the sauce is just going to run right off of it. Stirring constantly just to avoid scrambling them, and as you can see there, I've reached that desired consistency. So here I'm straining it in case I've scrambled any of the egg mixture there. We really want this to be as smooth as possible because we're going to be making a cream out of this, so we don't want any lumps in there. And then we're going to take this and put this over an ice bath so it can cool. Here I am just adding a little bit of vanilla into there for some flavor. And then we're just going to let that cool over our ice bath until we're ready to use it. Alright, so here the Anglaise sauce has been sitting on the ice bath for about 15 minutes. I'm just checking the consistency of it to see if it has thickened up a little bit. It has come to about room temperature at this point. It hasn't quite thickened up as much as I'd like it though, so I'm going to leave it on there a little bit longer. But now I'm just whipping up my whipped cream. I want this to get to about medium soft peaks, and then I'm going to let it chill in the fridge until I'm ready to put everything together. As you can see, I have my bowl of gelatin bloomed on the side already, ready to use and put this all together. You'll see in just a moment the consistency that I want this to be at. We don't want this to get too thick because then we won't be able to fold everything in together properly. Alright, so now we're ready to assemble everything. I have a bowl of boiling water here that I'm going to put my gelatin in just to help dissolve that. Once this is all dissolved, we're going to temper our Anglaise mixture into our gelatin. We're going to do that because we don't want to put our gelatin mixture into something cold. And the reason for that is because then it's going to seize the gelatin, and then we're going to get little lumps and clumps of gelatin into our cream, and we don't want that. So we're going to heat up our gelatin first and then put our sauce into a little bit of the heated gelatin, and then we can temper that back into the cold mixture. So here I am doing that, putting that tempered mixture back into the sauce, and then I can go ahead and mix the sauce into our whipped cream. This is what's going to create the fluffiness and the airiness of the cream. The gelatin in it is what's going to help stabilize it and give it that body. Folding this with the spatula, making sure not to knock as much air out as possible so that we can have a nice fluffy cream in the end. So now here I'm taking our finished cream puffs. I'm taking a star tip and just poking a little hole in the bottom of them so that they can get ready to be filled. I'm ready to fill these guys with my finished Bavarian cream. Filling up my pastry bag now, fitted with a star tip. It's about the same size, maybe a little bit bigger than the one that I used to puncture the bottoms with. The reason for that is because I want it to fill, well, I don't want the filling to come out of the holes while I'm stuffing them. So I'm just going to fill these one by one. You can really feel the weight of them change when you're piping the cream into them. The reason for that is because the shells are very, very lightweight, so you can use that as a very good judge of when to stop. And here's the final product. I really hope you guys like this video. I hope you learned something. Please feel free to comment with any questions you might have. I'm going to be posting the recipe in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching.